Hello crafty friends, and welcome to another clean and simple card making tutorial. For today's video I'm going to use this sketch from our most recent set of sketches. You can download them for free from the video description, and this video is going to be 2025/113. And the first thing I want to do is create a bit of DIY patterned paper, and that's going to be this big triangle here. I've got a piece of mixed media paper here that I'm going to treat with my anti-static powder, and this circle stencil which has circles of varying sizes. Just going to use this as a guide because I'm going to use my rollable of embossing ink. It's actually glycerin, but it works as an embossing ink. And I'm just rolling roughly around the middle or the inside of these circles. I'm not looking for perfect impressions or circles. This is going to be one of those rough and ready, grungy, distressed mixed media type backgrounds. I think I've done all of those. Carefully take that off. And for my embossing powder I'm using Wow Clear Gloss Superfine. So this won't be particularly visible until I add some colour to it in a bit. I'll just brush off the bits I don't want, and I'll heat this with my heat tool on its highest setting. Now that's cooled and set, I'm going to do some more a bit further down and fill in any gaps. I will give it another going over with the talcum powder. Now I'm going to take some water, pick it up with a clean paintbrush and spatter it on, and then I'll put some more superfine over it. I will heat it from underneath so that it doesn't blow away the powder when the water has evaporated, because it will evaporate quite quickly. Now I heat from underneath. To add colour to my background, I'm going to use these pigment powders from Indigo Blue. They're their Luscious pigment powders. And I've got Rapunzel and Cheeky Peach. And the reason I've gone for warm colours is because I've managed to scorch the paper a bit down here. So it's ever so slightly yellow, so it won't show up when I add my warm colours to it. So giving that a good liberal spritz with water. And I'll add the Cheeky Peach, and I'm going to take my smusher and just smush that around. I don't want it too bold. I want something quite subtle. And I hope you can see that the embossing that I've done is resisting the colour and the water, and it will show up nicely. So now for some Rapunzel. And I'm going to dry that gently with my hairdryer so as not to remelt the embossing powder. I'm going to just add some water to this bit of Rapunzel here and pick it up with my smusher and go over it. And I'll do the same with some peach. That's mostly dry now, so I'm going to pick up this leftover paint and spatter it on. So now I'm going over my circles with a damp baby wipe just to wipe the pigment powder off of most of the top. It doesn't have to be perfectly clean, it's a kind of grungy look, but I do want these little embossed circles to peek through. You can also give them a bit of a buff with a microfiber cloth. If your pigment powder has binder in it, then it shouldn't rub off your card. Okay, so my card is going to be 4 by 6 inches, and this panel is just a little bit smaller than that all the way around, and I want to cut an equal size panel out of this. Now I'm going to pop this on top of my card blank and then add my rule of thirds grid. And this goes from the bottom corner of the panel all the way up to 1/3 of the way in from the right, which is about there. So I'm going to place these two together. Actually, I need that one on top so I can see the mark. and slice from that bottom corner to the mark. Right, so I've got 2 white pieces and 2 colourful pieces. I want the big white bit and the little not white bit. I'm going to use a double-sided tape to stick them together. Right, I've covered the back of that in double-sided sticky, and now I'm going to pop it on my card. I didn't die cut out that panel. I used my trimmer, so I'm just going to bevel the edges with my embossing tool to make it look a little bit neater. And of course you can make a whole other card with this, like that. I've used a hexagon die to cut a hexagon out of some white card, and I'm just dipping the edges into my ink pad to ink them up a bit. And I've got some Wow Metallic Gold Rich Pale regular size grain powder here, and I'll hold that still with my tweezers and heat it, so that'll sit nicely there. I think I want to sprinkle a bit on as well, so I'll pop a bit in there, just in the lid, pick some up, sprinkle it on, and I'm going to heat it from underneath to prevent that powder blowing away. So I like that, that's going to sit on there, nice and gold and sparkly. Then I've got a little label shape and some foliage, and I'm thinking I'm going to do this in gold as well. I'll press this down into my ink pad, get it coated on the front. Now I'm going to sprinkle this over, and I might do a couple of coats of this, I think. So now that's cooled and set, I'll just pop it back on the ink pad and then do that process again. It's looking nice and golden chunky. Now for this. So I've used this little label die to die cut a label out of vellum, and I'm going to do that dippy edge thing again. So that's very grungy, and that's fine, and there's probably some on the back as well. I'll just try and wipe as much off the back as I can. To adhere the vellum piece, I'm going to pop it through my Xyron sticker maker, and that will make it sticky on the back. I'll add some glue to the back of my hexagon here. That's going to sit on that intersection there, roughly. I think there. And I'll make sure it's straight with my ruler. Now for my little label. Now we can put some glue on the back of some of the leaves. For my sentiment, I've got this little congratulations. This was one I printed at home and cut out with my digital cutting machine. I'm going to put some 1mm foam tape on the back just to give it a bit of lift. And that's going to sit on there in the middle of the card horizontally. Just so this end sticks down where it overlaps the foliage, I'll pop a little bit of glue under there, and I think that's nice and straight. Yeah. And to add these little dots, I'm going to put on some Nuvo drops. This is Gold Coast Glitter Nuvo drops. So it will dry clear, but it's got a little bit of gold glitter in it, which will complement all the golden peachy tones that are already there. Right, there we have today's card. Really pleased with the way it turned out. We used an emboss resist technique to create that background with pigment powders. I've edged my shapes with some grungy gold, created a piece of foliage with a couple of layers of gold embossing powder, brought it all together with some drops and a sentiment. I hope you found this video helpful. I hope it's given you a few ideas you can use. If it has, please do let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe, ring the notification bell. You know the drill, and I'll see you back here very soon for another card making video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.